I'd have to say, I think it's time for all of us to come to our senses. Wouldn't you agree? We got to all start letting ourselves be loved a little bit more, maybe a whole lot more. Come to our senses means we're going to help each other. It takes each other. It takes all of us to be whole and complete. So, women, I'm going to remind you of what you're holding in your hand right now. The Queen of Diamonds in that song represents looking to the outer world for your happiness and fulfillment. And we know that's temporary. It changes. The Queen of Hearts represents looking inward to find true happiness and true love. So I'm going to ask the women today to think of something that they would have liked to tell a man in their life. Some words of love and support, encouragement, maybe forgiveness, something you would like to say that you didn't get a chance to say. And I'd like you to hold your little card here, because what you're going to do, I'm going to invite our men to come up here, and I'm going to invite them to be open and available, to be loved and receive goodness and kindness that we all need. We need to give and receive. And then at the end, as the men come up and women, you come up and you tell one man just the words that you want to say from your heart, because it doesn't really matter who you're saying it to. It's in the collective consciousness of love. And then at the end of what you say, I'd like you to give this Queen of Hearts that you've infused with all your love and goodness to one of the men up here, and just say, remember, the Queen of Hearts is always with you. So could we have our men come forward, please? So I'd like, if we could have our next tablet, this one by M.C. Richards, made in the 50s, the clay, the earth tablet, is I am the vine. And actually in the Bible that shows up several places. I am the vine, you are the branches. I am the true vine, and God is the gardener. So I am the vine is one of the I am statements, the 7 I am statements that Jesus made when he spoke with absolute authority as the Logos, as God itself. When he spoke those words to transform his disciples' life and people's lives, these I am statements, spoken as the Logos, spoken as God, I am the vine. And think of what a vine represents to you. It's ever growing, ever seeking, it's alive, it's sturdy, it's powerful, it gives us sustenance, it is life-sustaining and life-giving. I am the vine. And if we say, I am the vine, God is the vine, and we are the branches, it means we are the expressions of God, the expressions of love, of caring, of nurturing, of all that is good and right and true. So this was the last of the I am statements Jesus made when he was speaking to his disciples and telling them right before his imminent death that even if my physical body leaves you, I will always be there for you. My physical reality will be gone, but my spiritual reality is always there. It will support you and be there for you, like the roots and the stem on the vine. What a message for all of us, that if we can just remember that we are the outpicturing of this powerful energy of life, that we are that right now. We're going to take this morning an opportunity to take lessons from the vine. And if you think about it, what a vine knows to do, as everything knows, is we are here to grow. That's what we're here to do. When we talked, that's why I mentioned a little bit of the mature behavior that we've all done, because we're growing up, we're evolving and growing. It's about recognizing that we are here to grow. But of course, in that we have free will, so we can resist growth. We're here to grow, but we can resist our growth. We can choose to hold back from giving life all that we are. Edward Burke, I believe, said, the one thing that will let evil triumph is when good men and women do nothing. When we hold back the truth that we know when we don't live fully the expression of life, when we choose to resist who we are. You know, in the 7 deadly sins, Thomas Aquinas said the deadliest of all sins is sloth, which is refusal. That's when we refuse. We have that choice to give our inherent gifts to life, to give all that we are to life. You know, Anais Nin, who is a beautiful Cuban woman born in France and moved to the United States, she had such a beautiful grasp of life, and she said, for all of us, the day will come when the risk to remain tight in the bud will be more painful than the risk it takes to grow. Well, let's think about that for a minute. What does it mean to be tight in the bud? To be tight in the bud means you hold back, often confused about life, and you hold back, and instead of being your unique, beautiful self, you choose to be part of the pack, part of the herd. You don't speak up. You don't set things straight. You just stay back so you're not really noticed and not really seen. If we think about that compared to what it takes to bloom, to shine, to speak up, to share the good, to see the good, to do your part, which one would you choose? Do you want to hold back who we're designed to be? Yes, we are perfect, whole, and complete right now as we're growing and evolving. Our humanness is here so we can grow into something better and greater. What if you and I decided that every moment we would choose to be the best version of ourselves? Just for this moment, the best version. We can only do as much as we know in the moment, but it's time we know better. It's time we do better. It's time that you and I start every moment, well, how can I just step up a little bit more into the truth of who I am? If we remember that vine is here to grow and become, but before we can really grow, if you think about this vine, the first thing it does is it grows roots. Roots are growth that happen underground where we can't see it. There's a thirst in all of us, a spiritual thirst for wisdom and knowledge. And that's what this week's theme is, seeking wisdom and knowledge. And we seek first wisdom and knowledge as we go deep. Psalm says, deep calls unto deep. And I know if each one of us take a deep breath and just let all the stuff out here go away, there's a call for all of us to go deep inside and know that we are absolutely rooted in infinite goodness. That's all there is. We can express it differently, but we are rooted in infinite goodness. And if we take time to go inward, to deep calls unto deep, if we can plumb deeply, we will find divine wisdom. We'll know a truth greater than we've known before. But we have to get those roots down, and strong roots create a strong plant, a strong foundation. This world right now is calling for us to tone down the outside noise of fear and to absolutely tune in to what we know is true and right and good. We need to get those roots strong. We need to make that connection daily to the goodness, the love that we are, that's here always. But that practice needs to be a daily commitment. We need to grow the roots, because I don't know about you, but this outside world gets really distracting. And you know what happens to a vine when it grows and it's not pruned or tied down? It goes wild. And I think there's a lot of wildness we need to bring in and control. The beauty of our life is be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Our mind has so much ability. So after we have our roots down deep and strong in this world, as we know these principles, the new thought principles, the principles of science of mind, that God is all there is, I am one with God, life is eternal, as we know these, as we stand in them, goodness is ever present, we have everything we need right now. If we can stand in that and grow in it, then we can reach out, because part of us is always seeking the light. Do you know that? We're always growing like plants do towards the light, towards goodness, towards love, for any principle, compassion, truth, wisdom, whatever it is, we are growing towards that. But sometimes, as I said, we go a little wild. Do any of you feel that way? A little off track, a little wild, a little confused, a little buying into the negativity and the not enoughness, and we need to be pruned back. And we can do that in our consciousness. When we become aware of how we're showing up in our own lives in the world, where do we need to be pruned back a little bit? Ooh, that thought's not working for me so well. Oh, that action isn't working for me so well. We can prune ourselves back so we can follow this beautiful trellis, a beautiful trellis that reaches out towards life, towards sun, towards one another, our branches. So we have these deep roots. Deep calls unto deep, where we have this deep intimacy with God, with love, with goodness. We're grounded in the infinite, then we can grow out and let our branches reach out and touch one another. I am the vine, you are the branches. We are the way that life, God, shows up. We're the way that goodness, love, possibility is shared. So we get to do that part in the world. And once we've grown our branches and our beautiful vines, hopefully we get to be bearing fruit. Because vines that are alive and fruitful and beautiful, I have one. I got a beautiful little plant for Mother's Day that had little green grapes on it that are now plump little grapes, and they're so adorable. And I'm going to cut some today and eat them because they're ready. They did their job. I had to participate too, but they did their work. Bear the fruit. What is your fruit? What are you here to make life sweeter? What do you have inside of you? We can feel it. We need to name it and be it, because we have a part to play in sharing our goodness with the world. I'd like to read a quote by Ernest Holmes, where he talks about the importance of really tapping in to what we are and expressing it in the world. He said, if you take time daily, how many of you do that? Take time every day to connect with your goodness. Come on, raise your hand. If it's not raised, do it now, because you fake it till you make it, okay? I'm doing it. I'm starting right now, this minute. If you take time daily to sense the presence of life within you, the presence of life within you, to believe in it, to accept that it's true, it will not be long before the life which you have known will gradually disappear. The life that you have known, because we do what we do and what we know, and we do better when we know better. So the more we infuse ourselves with the truth and life, the life which you have known will gradually disappear. And something new will be born, a bigger, better, more perfect you. It's inevitable if we do our work. If we do our work, you will pass from death into life, from lack and want into greater freedom, and from fear into faith. Is there anybody that doesn't want that? Fear, faith, from want and lack to more freedom and abundance, from a sense of being alone. And loneliness is such a difficult phenomena, a difficult path in life right now. You will pass into a realization of oneness with everything, and you will rejoice in this oneness. Whew, that feels so good. So then comes the question, once we have dug our roots, grown them deeply, spread our branches, grown our leaves, given our fruit, what do we do next? What do you do with grapes? You make wine. Now, I don't know your relationship to wine. I happen to love wine, but there is a symbology around wine, which means coming together. If you notice that in celebrations, in blessings, in ritual, so often there is wine, which is the fruit of the earth. Let me give you a little history. The sweetness and bounty The sweetness and bountifulness of the grapes is signified by wine. Dionysus, 1500 BC, was the god of the grape harvesting, god of wine, but he was also the god of fertility and religious ecstasy. And he used everything in blessing and communion. There was wine that was shared, a blessing of the fruit of the earth. And at that time, in pagan times, it was much more about the earth and honoring the earth for what it had to give to us. Then in Judaism, in the Hebrew scriptures, wine is described as bringing joy to God and man, included in blessings and celebration. And it's a time to honor our earth and the bounty that it has to give us, and to know that everything we need is always right here. In Christianity, wine is a central rite, has a central place in the Eucharist, in the blood of Christ, the body of Christ, in their main ritual. And the Bible taught, as well as Christian history, that wine is a gift from God and makes life more joyous. Well, wouldn't that mean the symbol of appreciation and coming together? That life is more important when you and I come together and celebrate and bless the world. That we're here to do that. We're here to bless this world, to join together. And said, of course, that except overindulgence, which is a sin and vice, but wine in the early church was a symbol of people coming together. And people still need to come together today and celebrate the fruit of the earth, the fruit of our life, the goodness we have for each other. T.S. Eliot said, "What is life for but to make life less difficult and more beautiful for one another?" Less difficult and more beautiful for one another. So I'm going to invite you right now to just close your eyes. And I want you to think of that, a beautiful vine, that grapevine, the beauty of it. And I want you to imagine that you are the vine. You are one with God because we are. That vine is symbolic of the spiritual essence of who we are. And just imagine in this moment as you become that vine, that ever-growing, strong, potent energy that only knows to grow. Imagine that right now you're growing roots into this beautiful earth, roots into the earth that gives us nourishment, support. And these roots are strong because as these roots plumb deep, they touch the divine wisdom, the love that we are seeking, and they fill us with strength and possibility to move towards the light of who we are. And imagine that as the roots are strong and we are rooted in the infinite mind of goodness, that we let our branches stretch out to touch this world. And imagine as your branches grow and become, as you know more about the perfection of who you are and the gifts you have to share, as you have the courage to bloom and not stay tight and restricted, that the beauty and uniqueness of who you are expands and grows, and you bear fruit which makes life sweeter and better and greater. You bear fruit in abundance, and because in this process the heart opens, the mind expands, that you share this fruit with one another. You share this sweetness of life with each other. You see the good. You do your part. Your words have meaning of love and life. They're life-giving. Who you are makes a difference. And right here and now, in this moment, as you are this beautiful vine extending and growing beyond this physical world into the realms of the infinite, you allow this moment to know that you are the best version of yourself. And as you take that stand, it's in consciousness we join in community. We take just in our mind's eye the hands, the hearts of one another, and we know that together we are greater than the sum of our parts. It's in this moment moment that we see the power of community, the power of union, the power of wholeness, that we reflect to one another the gifts of life that we are. We take a stand right here and now to support and love this earth, this world, and the people in it. As we seek the divine, we see it everywhere. It's right now in your mind's eye and in your heart and in your soul and in your mind. You just share your love and you make the commitment. I am here to stand by my brothers, to stand by my sisters, to stand by the earth itself. I make a difference because I let the light of love and wisdom and goodness shine through me, and I share my good. I simply say how good it is to be alive, how good it is to be growing, how good it is to bear the fruit of wisdom and love and share with others. And on that note, we simply say thank you, thank you, thank you, God, thank you, life. And we seal this knowing by saying together, and so it is. Take a nice deep breath on. Oh my gosh, we have a whole grapevine here. I love it. An orchard. It's beautiful. Well, I love and bless you all. Happy Mother's Day, Father's Day. Just happy day to be your beautiful, wonderful selves. And so it is. I love you all. Take care.